Good morning, beloved sisters. Look at me, not just with your eyes, but with the wisdom of your years and the depth of your beautiful hearts. You weren't crafted to dwell in defeat. No, you were never meant to walk under the shadow of fear. The Almighty Hand fashioned you, crowned you with purpose, and filled you with divine potential. This world may try to label you as weak, emotional, or unsure, but heaven sees a warrior. And I am here today to declare to you that there are 10 things, 10 holy fires you must tend to every single day. Why? So you can grow stronger, wiser, and bolder in the magnificent calling placed upon your life. These aren't just self-help steps, they are spiritual disciplines, practical truths wrapped in eternal power. If you embrace them seriously, you won't just transform your own life, you will transform the very world around you. 1. Reclaim your sacred identity. Every day, before the sun paints the sky, before the world begins to clamor for your attention, there's one truth you must remember above all else. Who you are, not what you do, not what you look like, not what others expect, but who you are at your very core, your identity. Everything you do, everything you believe, every choice you make flows from that sacred place. Too many women, dear ones, wake up and step into roles before they step into truth. They step into being a mother, a wife, a boss, a helper, a friend, a servant. But they never pause to recognize the sacred identity that lies underneath it all. And the danger of that, my friends, is profound. When life shakes those roles, when relationships shift, when seasons change, when the job ends, or the children grow, or the applause stops, many are left wondering, who am I now? That's why, every day without fail, you must look into the mirror of your spirit before you look into the mirror on your wall. Before you put on your makeup, do your mind work. Before you fix your hair, fix your heart. The world, you see, will try to define you. It will whisper that you're only as valuable as your looks, your salary, your body, or your social media following. But you, beloved woman, must decide daily. I will not let the world name me. The Bible says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Psalm 139:14. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You were not put on this earth merely to survive. You were put here to thrive, to build, to rise, and to reflect something far greater than yourself. That means your identity is not fragile. It's not up for debate. It was written before time began, and no rejection, no heartbreak, no failure can ever erase it. And when you truly believe that, you'll stop chasing people's approval and start walking in divine purpose. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You aren't too soft, too loud, or too late for anything. You, my dear, are enough. Not because of your performance, but because of your sacred position. You are deeply loved, intricately designed, and eternally purposed. Your worth doesn't fluctuate with the stock market of opinions. It is steady, secure, and sacred. So, take hold of your identity before the world tries to snatch it from you. Hold on to it when the lies come, when comparison whispers, when insecurity creeps in, when old wounds begin to speak again. Remind yourself, I am not what I feel. I am what I was created to be. Walk like you know it. Speak like you believe it. Stand like it cannot be taken from you. Because once a woman knows who she is, she becomes unstoppable. Not arrogant, not proud, but rooted, grounded, unshakable. When storms come, she doesn't crumble. When people leave, she doesn't fall apart. When the noise gets loud, she listens to the whisper of truth deep inside saying, you are mine, You are called. You are chosen. That kind of identity can't be bought, it can't be faked, and it cannot be stolen. You must wake up and claim it every single day like armor, because life will test you. And if you don't know who you are, the test will define you. But if you do know, you'll rise above the test, and you'll walk through it with dignity, power, and peace. So I say again, not softly, but with fire, remember who you are. And when you forget, remember again, every day without fail. Because everything else depends on it. Diato. 2. Master the battlefield of your mind. The mind, my dear friends, is the battlefield of life. It is where your fears are born, where your doubts are fed, and where your victories are won long before they are seen in the physical world. If a woman is to truly rise, if she is to walk in power, wisdom, and clarity, she must not neglect her mind, not even for a day. Because the strength of the body may waver, the emotions may shift, but a renewed, focused, guarded mind is a force no enemy can defeat. Every morning, when you open your eyes, thoughts begin to race. Some are planted by truth, some by fear, some by memory, and some by imagination. And if you are not intentional, your mind will become a highway for anxiety, insecurity, and confusion. That is why strengthening your mind is not optional. It is essential. Just as your body needs food, water, and rest, your mind needs training, structure, and alignment with truth. The Word of God tells us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Romans 12:2. You must begin to treat your mind like a garden. Whatever you allow to grow unchecked will eventually take over. If you let negative thoughts, unworthy comparisons, and lies about your value take root, they will begin to choke the very life out of your joy and your peace. But if you take the time to plant seeds of truth, water them daily with intentional thoughts, and pull out the weeds of fear and doubt, your mind becomes a place of strength, a place of vision, wisdom, and peace. You must become the gatekeeper of your thoughts. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every worry deserves to live rent-free in your imagination. You have the power to choose what you dwell on. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Philippians 4:8. You have the power to challenge every lie that rises up in your mind, and that power must be used daily, not occasionally. Because the thoughts you repeat to yourself become the beliefs that shape your behavior, and your behavior creates your life. When your mind is weak, every small problem becomes a mountain. Every challenge feels like a failure. One down. Every delay feels like denial. But when your mind is strong, anchored in truth, focused on purpose, and guarded by discipline, no storm can shake you. You begin to see things differently. I would know. You don't just react, you respond. You don't just survive, you lead. You begin to speak to your fears instead of being ruled by them. You begin to filter your thoughts instead of letting them rule you. A strong mind doesn't mean a perfect mind. It means a trained one. It means you've learned how to pause when your thoughts spiral. You've learned how to speak truth when lies shout loudly. You've learned how to reset when the weight of the world starts pressing down. This isn't about pretending bad things don't happen. It's about knowing you are not powerless when they do. Strengthening your mind also means filling it with the right voices. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because what you feed your mind will either nourish your strength or starve it. If you constantly pour in negativity, comparison, gossip, or fear-based content, do not be surprised when your mind becomes chaotic and unstable. But if you intentionally fill your mind with wisdom, inspiration, learning, truth, and peace, your mental state becomes a foundation you can build a powerful life upon. This kind of strength doesn't happen overnight. It is built in the quiet moments, in the decision to stop a toxic thought, in the choice to reframe a situation, in the discipline to turn off the noise and sit in stillness. Every day, you have the opportunity to either train your mind or neglect it. And the result of that choice shows up not just in how you think, but in how you live. So, as a woman rising into her purpose, never underestimate the importance of your inner world. You control everything around you, but you can take command of what happens inside you. Because when your mind is clear, focused, and full of truth, you walk with a peace that surpasses all understanding and a strength that cannot be shaken. 3. Feed your spirit before your screen. There is a sacred moment that belongs to you and you alone, my precious sisters. The moment when you wake up and choose what you allow into your soul. In today's world, where screens flash before your eyes, before your feet even touch the ground, there's a silent danger in the way we start our days. Too often, the first thing we reach for is a phone, not peace. We scroll through news, notifications, messages, and images before we've even spoken to our own soul, before we've even connected to the one who breathed life into us. And by doing so, we unknowingly hand over control of our minds and emotions to a world that thrives on distraction, comparison, and noise. Every woman, especially those of you who have walked many years with wisdom, must understand the power of the first few moments of her day. They are not just minutes, they are foundations. What you allow in first has the power to color your thinking, shift your mood, and shape your direction. That's why feeding your spirit before you feed your phone is not just a suggestion. It is a spiritual discipline, a daily decision that grounds you in clarity, peace, and purpose. When you wake up, and the first thing you do is quiet your heart, even if for just a few minutes, you are reminding yourself that your life is not ruled by chaos. You are not defined by notifications. You are not dependent on others to tell you how valuable you are today. You are choosing to anchor yourself in truth before anything else has a chance to pull you in 100 different directions. The Bible commands us, but seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all of these things will be given to you as well. Matthew 6:33. And when you do that, something sacred happens. You create space for divine wisdom to speak, for your heart to align, and for your spirit to rise above the noise. There is nothing wrong with technology. There is nothing wrong with being connected. But if you allow the external world to speak before you've heard the still small voice within, you will begin to live reactively instead of intentionally. You will start your day chasing instead of creating, comparing, instead of connecting. And you will find yourself tired, anxious, and unsure without knowing why. But when you begin your day feeding your spirit through prayer, reflection, meditation, stillness, or simply breathing deeply and choosing gratitude, you become centered. You remind yourself of who you are and whose you are. You don't let the likes, the headlines, or the opinions of others write your identity. You step into your day clothed in strength, clarity, and calm authority. There's a reason why your spirit must be nourished first, because everything you do flows from within. You can't pour out peace to others if you're constantly pouring in stress. You can't offer love if you're filling yourself with fear. You live with purpose if your thoughts are constantly scattered. That's why every woman must build a habit of feeding her inner life first. She must treat her spirit as a temple not a trash bin. She must treat her mornings as sacred, not disposable. This doesn't have to be hours of devotion. It can be 5 intentional minutes. A whispered prayer, a quiet moment of reflection, a verse, a phrase, a deep breath. The key is not length. The key is presence. Choosing to be with yourself, to be with God, to be grounded before the world begins to speak. That is the kind of woman who does not break when the day gets hard, because she has already filled herself with something greater than what she'll face. So remember this: you are the gatekeeper of your mornings. You get to choose what enters first. Now, choose strength, choose peace, choose purpose, choose truth, and let your soul eat before your screen steals your focus. When you make this a daily habit, your days will shift, your mind will clear, and your life will rise in a direction aligned with your calling, not driven by the noise of the world. 4. Walk in daily forgiveness. There will come moments in every woman's life when she is faced with a choice: to carry the weight of what was, or to step freely into what can be. And more often than not, that choice is not a one-time event, but a daily decision. Life has a way of wounding us. People betray, words cut deep, circumstances disappoint, promises break. And when those things happen, it's natural to hold on to the pain, the bitterness, the unanswered questions. But what begins as self-protection can quietly become self-destruction if you're not careful. That is why walking in forgiveness every single day is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths a woman can ever develop. Forgiveness is not about saying what happened was okay, when it is not about pretending you weren't hurt. It is not about giving people permission to continue harming you. Forgiveness is about refusing to let what happened define who you are. It's about choosing to let go so that you can move forward without dragging the chains of yesterday into the promise of today. Because when you carry bitterness, it poisons your joy. When you nurse resentment, it clouds your clarity. When you keep replaying the offense, it steals your peace over and over again. The Bible teaches us, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. A woman who walks in forgiveness understands that peace is more powerful than payback. She chooses her future over her fury. She recognizes that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. But she also knows this isn't easy. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a fight. It is something you must wrestle through. Some wounds are deep, some betrayals sting longer than others. But the process of forgiveness begins with a decision, and that decision begins with the courage to say, this pain will not own me. Some days, forgiveness looks like releasing someone who never apologized. Some days it means extending grace to yourself for mistakes you made when you didn't know better. And other days, it's forgiving the same hurt all over again because memories have a way of coming back. But every time you choose forgiveness, you are choosing freedom. You are choosing strength. You are choosing to rise above what tried to bury you. Forgiveness also brings clarity. When you are no longer consumed with resentment, your mind opens to new ideas, your heart opens to love again. Your energy is no longer tied to pain, and the light that once flickered inside you begins to burn again with passion and purpose. You start to see people differently. You start to understand that hurt people, and healed people help others heal. And when you choose to forgive, you become a healing force in a world that desperately needs more mercy. Some may say that forgiving makes you look soft, but nothing could be further from the truth. It takes far more strength to release than it does to retaliate. It takes far more courage to walk in grace than to dwell in grudge. Any woman can hold on to offense, but it takes a woman of wisdom to let go and live unburdened. It takes a woman of vision to see beyond the pain and into the possibility that peace brings. So, every day, look inward. Ask yourself, what am I still carrying that no longer belongs in my heart? Be honest. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And then make the choice, not once, but daily, to walk in forgiveness. Not for them, but for you. Because your peace matters more than your pride. Your future deserves more than your past. And your spirit was never meant to be chained to what hurt you. It was created to soar. 5. Speak with grace and fire. There is a quiet, yet undeniable power in the way a woman speaks. Her words can shape the atmosphere of a room, heal a broken heart, shift the course of a conversation, and stir courage in someone who has forgotten their word. But then, that power can also wound, diminish, and divide. That's why every single day, a woman must become deeply intentional about how she speaks, about herself to others, and over the situations she encounters. Because words are not just sound. They are seeds, and what you plant, you will eventually harvest. There is a balance every woman must learn to carry. The balance of grace and fire. Grace without truth becomes silence, and truth without grace becomes noise. But when you learn to speak with both grace that softens the heart and fire that wakes up the soul, you become a voice that cannot be ignored. This is not about being loud or passive. It's about being anchored in wisdom and bold in love. It's about using your words not as weapons to destroy, but as tools to build. It starts with how you speak to yourself. Because if the words you whisper in your own mind are filled with shame, doubt, or criticism, you are setting the tone for your entire life. You speak life into others if you are constantly speaking death over yourself. So really examine your internal dialogue. Catch the thoughts that belittle, the phrases that undermine your value, the silent lies that you've allowed to play on repeat. Replace them with truth. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love, because the words you accept in your heart are the foundation of your confidence. Then comes the way you speak to others. This world is not starved for opinions. It is starved for kindness. People are walking through invisible battles. One kind word can remind someone that they matter. One moment of honest encouragement can keep someone from giving up. That doesn't mean you never speak hard truths, but it means you learn to deliver truth in a way that lifts, not crushes. You become a woman whose words bring peace, not pressure, clarity, not chaos. You become someone others trust, not because you always agree, but because your words are wrapped in compassion, even when they challenge. The Bible tells us that the tongue has the power of life and death. Proverbs 18:21. There's a fire that must burn in your voice, a holy boldness that refuses to be silenced by fear. There will be moments when you are called to speak up for justice, for truth, for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable. Don't let the fear of being too much cause you to say too little. Your voice was given to you for a reason. You are not here to echo what everyone else says. You are here to speak what needs to be said. And when you combine that courage with grace, your voice becomes a force of influence that opens hearts and changes lives. But to carry this kind of speech with purpose and passion and conviction, you must stay connected to truth every day. Because as Jesus himself said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Luke 6:45. Whatever you fill your heart with will eventually come out of your mouth. That's why your words are a reflection of your inner world. If your soul is crowded with bitterness, it will show. If your heart is filled with peace, wisdom, and strength, it will show even more. So choose daily to speak with intention. Don't speak just to be heard. Speak to uplift, to empower, to remind others of who they are and who they can become. Let your voice be a balm, not a blade. Let it carry fire, not to burn others, but to light a path in the darkness. Speak with grace that reaches low, and with fire that lifts high. And over time, your words will do more than make noise. They will make impact. 6. Protect your energy like a treasure. Every single day, a woman must protect her energy like it's her treasure, because it is. Your energy is not just your physical strength or your emotional capacity. It is the atmosphere you carry, the essence you bring into a room, the way your presence either adds peace or absorbs chaos. And in a world that constantly pulls, demands, and drains, if you do not guard your energy with intentional boundaries, you will find yourself burned out, bitter, and broken, giving to everyone and everything except yourself. Protecting your energy means recognizing that you are not available for everything and everyone all the time. You are not a machine. You are not a savior. You are a woman with a calling, with purpose, and with a limited supply of time and emotional bandwidth. And when you fail to guard that, you allow other people's urgency to override your inner peace. You let their drama become your distraction. You say yes to things that steal your focus and drain your soul, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of disappointing others. But here is the truth. Not every opportunity is for you. Not every friendship is healthy. Not every text deserves a reply. Not every request is your assignment. And the moment you begin to honor your energy, you begin to take back your power. You begin to realize that a no is a complete sentence. That boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. That peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you protect like gold. This doesn't mean you isolate or become cold. It means you become wise. You start asking deeper questions. Is this bringing me closer to peace or pulling me into chaos? Is this relationship helping me grow or is it draining me dry? Is this habit serving my purpose or stealing my joy? When you start protecting your energy, you no longer live on autopilot. You no longer run at the pace of guilt or the rhythm of people-pleasing. You move in purpose. You move in alignment. And part of guarding your energy means learning how to rest without guilt. In a culture that glorifies hustle and applauds burnout, rest can feel like weakness. But rest is not weakness. It is wisdom. Jesus himself said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. It is saying, I am not going to run myself into the ground to prove my worth. It is saying, I trust that pausing is not falling behind. It's preparing for what's ahead. Because when you rest, you recharge, and a recharged woman is far more powerful than a constantly depleted one. You also protect your energy by choosing your battles. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every comment needs a comeback. Silence can be powerful. Distance can be healing. Letting go can be the most powerful form of strength. There's a peace that comes from realizing you don't have to fix everything. You don't have to carry what's not yours. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You are free to walk away, to unplug, to breathe. And finally, to protect your energy is to protect your joy. Joy is not always loud. Whoa. Sometimes it's quiet and steady. Sometimes it's found in stillness, in a cup of coffee in the morning, in a kind word, in music, in sunlight. The world will always have reasons for you to worry, to fear, to stress, but you have the power to choose what you carry. You have the power to choose what you absorb and what you release. And the more you do this daily, the more you become a woman who walks in peace, who leads with calm, who creates life-giving space everywhere she goes. So, don't apologize for being intentional with your energy. It is your lifeblood. It is your spiritual currency. Guard it. Behind it. Nurture it. Besøg til nu råden and trust it. Protect it. Because when your energy is clear, your vision sharpens, your joy deepens, and your life becomes a reflection of the peace you've chosen within. And trust your inner compass. Every woman, especially a woman of experience and wisdom, must learn to trust her instincts. Because within her lies a compass more powerful than any outside opinion, louder than any crowd, and more accurate than the shifting voices of the world. That inner voice, that deep knowing, that gut feeling, that is your intuition. It is the whisper in your soul when something isn't right. Wow. It is the nudge that says slow down or move forward. It is not random, it is wisdom. And in a world full of noise, distraction, and opinions, learning to hear and trust that voice is not just important, it is vital. Too often, we override our intuition in favor of logic or politeness or pressure. We sense something is off, but we second guess ourselves. We feel the warning, but we ignore it because we don't want to offend or disappoint or stand out. But intuition doesn't come to flatter your ego or feed your fear. It comes to guide you toward what is true, what is safe, what is aligned. And when you start ignoring it, you begin to lose your sense of direction. You begin to look outward for answers that were always within. Trusting your intuition starts with getting quiet. You will hear your inner voice when you are constantly surrounded by external noise. You must create space in your life for stillness, for reflection, for that gentle voice to rise above the chaos. This could be early in the morning, late at night during a walk, or in a moment of solitude. The more you practice listening inwardly, the clearer that voice becomes. The more you act on it, even in small ways, the more confident you become in your own inner guidance. Your intuition doesn't always explain itself. It doesn't come with a detailed report or a logical breakdown. Sometimes it's just a sense, a tightening in your chest, a whisper of unease, a moment of clarity, a sudden peace. And sometimes it defies what everyone else is saying. But that's where courage comes in. The courage to trust what you feel, even when it doesn't make sense to others. Because people can give advice, but they don't live with consequences of your choices. And you do. And you do. And your spirit will always know what your mind hasn't yet fully figured out. A woman who trusts her intuition walks differently. She doesn't chase approval, she follows alignment. She doesn't need a crowd to feel confident, she walks in quiet certainty. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" Isaiah 30:21. She knows that not every open door is meant to be walked through. Not every opportunity is a calling. Not every relationship deserves her time. And because of that, she moves with a grace that is rooted in discernment, not in desperation. This doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you learn from them. Sometimes your intuition may be clouded by fear or past pain, but the more you heal, the more your inner voice becomes clearer, sharper, more trustworthy. That's why your personal growth matters, because a clear heart leads to a clear voice. The more connected you are to your values, your purpose, and your peace, the stronger your instincts will be. And when you learn to trust that voice, you no longer panic in the face of uncertainty. What? You pause, listen, and move forward with quiet power. Let this be your daily commitment, to pause before reacting, to feel before deciding, to listen before explaining, to ask yourself, what does my inner peace say about it? And then honor the answer, even if it costs you comfort, even if it confuses others, even if it calls you to walk alone for a while. Why? Because that voice within you, it is not just instinct, it is divine direction. It is soul-level wisdom. It is the map that will never lead you wrong. So sharpen it. Handle. Wow. Trust it. Follow it. Follow it. Because when a woman moves in alignment with her intuition, she becomes unstoppable. Not because she knows everything, but because she is connected to something greater than fear. She is connected to truth. 5 vital applications for happiness and success in 2026. My dear sisters, as we look towards a new year, let's commit to actively applying these eternal truths for a life filled with even greater happiness and success in 2026. These are not mere suggestions. They are pathways to a flourishing spirit and an impactful life. Embrace your true identity daily. Recognize that your worth is divinely given, not earned or defined by fleeting circumstances. Every morning, remind yourself of who God says you are, fearfully and wonderfully made, deeply loved, and eternally purposed. This unshakable foundation will empower you to face any challenge with dignity and peace. 2. Guard and grow your mind intentionally. Make your mind a garden, not a battlefield for anxiety and doubt. Consciously choose to fill it with truth, wisdom, and positive thoughts, aligning your thinking with God's Word. A strong, renewed mind is your greatest asset for navigating decisions and overcoming obstacles in the coming year. 3. Anchor your mornings in spirit first. Before the demands of the world rush in, cultivate a sacred, quiet time with God. Seek His presence, whether through prayer, reflection, or simply stillness. This intentional start will ground your spirit, bring clarity to your day, and equip you to live purposefully rather than reactively in 2026. 4. Practice daily forgiveness relentlessly. Choose to release bitterness and resentment that weigh down your heart. Forgive others, and just as importantly, forgive yourself. This daily act of grace is a powerful key to unlocking inner peace, freeing your energy and allowing you to move forward into new possibilities without the chains of the past. 5. Protect your precious energy with purpose. Understand that your energy is a finite resource, a sacred treasure. Learn to set healthy boundaries, say no when necessary, and prioritize rest without guilt. By safeguarding your physical, emotional, and spiritual energy, you ensure you have the strength, clarity, and joy to live out your calling with sustained impact throughout 2026. Dear woman, beloved, strong, chosen, understand every day is a sacred opportunity to rise higher, to grow deeper, to become wiser. You are not here to merely exist. You are here to evolve. You are here to break cycles, to lift others, to shine with a light this world desperately needs. But that light doesn't come from the noise around you. It comes from the truth within you. If you will commit, day by day, to feed your spirit before your phone, to walk in forgiveness, even when it's hard, to speak with fire and grace, to protect your energy like your peace depends on it, to trust that still, quiet voice inside of you, then you will not just change your life. You will change the atmosphere wherever you go. You will no longer be moved by pressure, but by purpose. You will not live reactively. You will live rooted. You don't have to do it all at once. Just begin. Begin again tomorrow. Begin again next week if you fall short. But never stop growing. Never stop becoming. Wait, somebody's often key and the nickel down with God. Because the world doesn't just need more people. It needs more whole, healed, and rising women. And that woman, you, is becoming more powerful than you even know. Walk in it. Rise in it. Wash socks and drink it. And let the world see what a woman fully aligned with truth can truly do.